heavy times. It sure feels that way. Not to bring politics into this, but we are in an election year in this country. And typically this time of year in an election year can feel pretty intense. We're also in September. So we are in a new year. You know, I know that most of us celebrate January as New Year. In the Jewish tradition, it's September. We also all hold the New Year vibe because we've all been to school. So September, it's end of summer, and we drop into New Year, and there's this focus on newness. And sometimes it's hard to jump into the new. Oftentimes, it's hard to jump into the new when we haven't done the clearing that's needed to get there. And it can feel very heavy at this time of year. And particularly right now, in terms of some of the astrology, if any of you are into that and follow that, there's this Mars in Cancer moment that's happening right now, where I know as a therapist, I get to kind of tune into people's energies throughout the week. And there's this vibe of intensity coming up, right? There's intensity coming up for people. Just letting someone else in. And we need to do something with that intensity. The intensity with Mars in Cancer particularly is really related to Cancer, our sense of home, our core rootedness, right? Coming home to ourselves. And what gets in the way of that? Sometimes it's belief systems. Sometimes it's certain relationships. Sometimes it's old shit that doesn't feel like it's even ours, but it's getting in the way of us living in our truth and our dreams and this more aligned, light sense of self. That could be difficult to hold all of that. And anger has been coming up for people. And in this space, we welcome that. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Daniela. And this is a time where we get to alchemize some of that. I was listening to an old On Being episode that they re-released. If any of you listened to her, Krista Tippett, she's a fave of mine. And there was an episode with a medical doctor. I wrote his name down, Atul Gawande. And he's also a journalist. And this episode was about mortality. And he was saying that in this research study they did with people who have stage 4 lung cancer, most people with stage 4 lung cancer don't live very long. I recently had a friend diagnosed stage 4 lung cancer. So I hear this and my ears perked up. Bless you. And the study was about palliative care. And for those of you who don't know, most of you probably do, but I'll say it anyway, palliative care, we think of it as end-of-life care. Really what it's about is helping people find more comfort. It's what we're talking about today. Today is about palliative care. How do we find more comfort? And a lot of our finding more comfort typically has to do with removing discomfort, right? So palliative care, a lot of it is about how do we help manage pain? And with most people who are dying, we wait till the very end to offer them palliative care. With this study, they didn't. As soon as these participants had a diagnosis of cancer, stage 4, they offered the palliative care immediately. And the question that these palliative care specialists asked of these patients was, what's a good day for you? What's our goal? And if we wait to the very end of someone's life, that's a hard question to be asking somebody. But when they did it in the beginning of the diagnosis, they allowed time for these specialists to work with pain management to help people get to this goal of living a good day. And sometimes that meant stopping chemo. And sometimes that meant finding the right cocktail of pain management medication so that, for example, a woman who is a piano teacher could keep teaching. For her, that was a good day. She wanted to be able to teach. For another guy who had been under the care of his family ever since he had this diagnosis, he said, a good day for me is being alone with a book. Get these people away from me. I want alone time at the end of my life. And what they found when they offered these people palliative care sooner, they lived 25% longer. 25% longer. If that was a pill, oh my God, people would be buying that up in droves. 25% is a big number. And so I hear this and I'm saying, well, why do we have to have cancer to ask ourselves these questions? I'm not waiting till a terminal diagnosis to ask myself, what's going to get me to a good day? And what are the belief systems that are getting in my way? What are the relationships that are getting in my way of living in alignment with my dreams and my goals? We have to ask ourselves this question. We have to ask ourselves this question. And we're in this time where we've got to show that belly, that vulnerable belly, like a cat or a dog who lays down and gets vulnerable and exposes that truth. It's time. And typically to get there and expose that truth, it's a practice of letting things go. When things are in our way, we have to let them go. So I want you to take a moment and think about this. It's not just that we want to think about what are the things that I need to let go of. That's important. And that may come up first. What's getting in my way? The question I want us to discuss today, as we're introducing ourselves, I want to know, where are you in that process? The content, not as important as the process. Maybe it's, I'm in the part of the process where I don't believe I can let this thing go. Maybe I'm holding on so vehemently to it that I'm in the part of the process where I'm not ready to let it go. I don't think I can. Maybe it's, I'm in the part of the process where I can't even identify what's in my way. Maybe it's, I'm practicing releasing. Maybe it's, I've let it go, but it's creeping back in. Maybe you're in the part of the process where you've let something go and you're practicing living in newness.